real pleasure to have in studio with us Wes Golden, Superintendent of Schools for Clinton High School. Wes, how's it going?
It's going great, heading into that holiday season, and it's always fun to watch the holiday concerts and the athletic events that happen before, the holiday break are always fun. I know this Friday, I think we've got a doubleheader against DeWitt, so that'll be a good opportunity to see area kids in action.
So you were in the classroom for so many years. What was it like with the class as it was getting close to that holiday break? How'd you rein them in?
Yeah, well, you had both ends of the spectrum. The fun of the holidays and the programs and the athletic events and just the anticipation for a break. But then, then there's the holidays where some kids don't always have what some others have, so they always kind of dreaded it. But nonetheless, I have always appreciated it, the time of year.
To me, I mean, the school has such an ebb and flow as the way of the time of this year goes. I mean, the anticipation of a new school year, then you kind of get into the routine. Then there's the holiday break, spring break. I mean, graduation for the seniors, of course. A lot of different emotions.
Oh, it's a roller coaster. It's an absolute roller coaster. Going into the holiday season is always a fun time. Once you come back from Christmas break, though, there's a long stretch between, beginning of January to spring break. And that one's the grind.
Yeah.
that space between Christmas break and spring break, that's the grind.
I would think so. Again, visiting with Wes Golden. Well, I still park in the back as I go to do the basketball games at your gym, but the parking lot's not quite the same.
Yeah.
But I can see that there's a lot of work being done.
Yeah, the progress has been great. Those of us who've been around and attended Clinton High and remember the old S-Wing, it's not there anymore. So you'll actually, when this is all said and done, you'll be able to drive all the way around Clinton High School. You'll be able to park behind Clinton High School. We're in the midst of phase 2. We're headed towards the end stretch here. We do have our students in phase 2, and for everybody, the phase 2 portion of our project it's the new theater, it's the CTE rooms to include welding, building trades or woods, autos. That's on the east side of that phase. On the west side of the phase is our performing arts. So that's where orchestra, band, and choir are. And in the middle is the theater. So the band, choir, and orchestra rooms are done. Our CTE rooms are almost done. We're still tweaking a few things. We've got a few events we're still working on. Kids are in there, though. And the theater's come into to fruition. So it's going to be really, really cool. It's supposed to be done sometime. I keep saying, and I have my fingers crossed for those. You can't see me. It'll be done probably early February.
I am so excited to the upgrades that are being made to Clinton High School. I, of course, graduated in 72, so I was a part of that new addition. So, I mean, I've been out of school for some time, so, yeah, definitely things needed. But the other day, Pleasant Valley was at the Your Gym for a game, and the gentleman that does the filming for them has done it for a number of years. And he expressed to me what an improvement that he saw at the Your Gymnasium.
Yeah, Yord, and I really give Gary DeLacy a lot of credit as he, kind of worked on this project, the previous superintendent, and he of course has a passion for your gym. He has a passion for Clinton High and the Clinton Community School District, and he had a vision for your gym, and that was a really key piece of this project was keeping your gym, but also upgrading it to where it's at. So the repainting, the new ventilation system. Those of us who have spent time in your gym at the end of May or over the summer, and that was a sweltering, furnace. Now that we have HVAC, in there, air conditioning, it's actually, and it always has been, but even more so now, a pleasurable and awesome place to see any event.
As a sportscaster, I really appreciate the layout. Keeping your gym, so I turn to my west, I've got football, I turn to my right, and there's basketball, so it's just tremendous. And I visit with J.D. Looters. Mm-hmm. It is the 50th year of the Looters Invitational, and I've always told them, your gym was meant for wrestling.
Yeah.
You got all that space down below. You can put 5 mats out, I think.
Yeah.
And then still you could seat over 1,000 in the balcony.
Yeah, it's so cool, isn't it? That's what makes your gym such an iconic truly. I mean, in eastern Iowa, there's very few places that you can go to say that's an icon, and your gym is that. And whether it be volleyball in the fall, and you can have three courts at once, or one large court, and even at a sophomore freshman game where there's multiple games going on, and yet still the balcony is full of spectators, or a wrestling meet like you suggested. But think of the days when you were in high school there, and I certainly remember how your gym would just be packed for a basketball game, packed, top to bottom, front to back. And, of course, that's something that we always envision and continue to try to strive for, is getting that back. So,
I had my coach's show last night, and of course I always invite Bill Mishevitz to be a part of that show.
Absolutely.
And we wrap things up. And I was asking about, do they have a Letterman's Club yet? Because I can remember, the Letterman, you had the white sweater with the C on it. And, of course, remember they used to have a coat checkout. Because when he first came to the school, he wanted, why are all those hangers there? But that's what the Letterman did. They, you would leave their coat with them and a donation, and it would go to the Letterman's Club.
Yeah. And so then after that was just even Letterman's jackets, right? And that was what we all wore, when I was in high school. That was the kind of a tradition of passing along as you earned your Letterman's jacket and you got your C's. And how many I remember the Knight family and all the great wrestlers that I went to high school with, who had pins every time they had a pin in wrestling. They'd put a pin. I think of the guys I ran with in cross country, be it Brad Wall, Dave Vladihoff, Bill Sattler, any of these guys, and we'd all sew our medals to our C's, from our meets and stuff like that. It was truly a lot of pride. Absolutely.
We talk about athletics, but I would imagine, because we do a monthly update and we have a fine art student on there, and the one that we had last time was Kaylee Moore. She plays the cello, and they've got to be excited about what this is going to be like.
Well, my youngest is a senior at Clinton High and plays the viola. And my oldest daughter played the cello and was in performing arts, or at least in the theater program. And just we have state of the art, and this is such a great thing for our community. The community support has been awesome, and to support even those kids, as you suggested, because we have a great program across the board, whether it be orchestra, band, choir. It gives those kids opportunities to express themselves just like an athlete on the field or on the pitch or on the court. These kids get to express their creative side, by playing their instrument or singing through their voice or performing in a play. That's one thing I'm so proud of our school district and historically is the amazing opportunities our students have to find their passion and to see what it is they're interested in and just express that.
I always enjoy when the pep band is at a basketball
Absolutely.
game. I mean, it adds so much more to it.
Absolutely. And as a kid who played in that pep band long ago, it was fun being in that pep band. It does, those who haven't been in a situation, even in when you're watching a college football game, hearing that pep band or the marching band, playing the Darth Vader theme, or when I was in high school playing that clip from 25-6-4 from Chicago or something. It makes you smile, and it's just so fun. Yeah.
And I always watch them. They parade in over there on the east side of the balcony. Will they still be coming in from that direction?
Yeah, actually, how the new setup will be, it makes it so much easier for the band and orchestra and choir to navigate into the theater. Because right now, if you remember, the S-Wing was where the band, choir, and orchestras were. They had to traverse the entire school to get to the theater. Yeah. So they'd be like, it might take them 10 minutes to go from one place to the other. Now they can go literally a few minutes from their performing arts room to the theater or to the gym. So
yeah, and if you're carrying a tuba or the drums,
it's quite
you're weighed down by the time you get there.
Yeah, you have your PE class already taken care of.
Exactly. We'll be back with more West Golden. Let's take a break for the weather, brought to you by BillionAuto.com.
We are going to see a little bit of a warmer day today with highs in the mid to upper 30s. However, another Clipper system is going to arrive for the afternoon and evening to bring in a chance for some light rain and snow showers. There is going to be some minor accumulations possible, highest amounts getting up to around an inch. Could be slick in spots for the evening commute. I'm Storm Track 8 meteorologist Morgan Strackpine.
Right now we're at 28 degrees. Our update brought to you by BillionAuto.com.
So, you need a new vehicle. What's the best vehicle for you? Where do you get financing? What's your trade worth? Answer all these questions and more at BillionAuto.com. You can compare 16 new car brands and thousands of used vehicles, all in the palm of your hand at BillionAuto.com. Plus, estimate the trade value of your vehicle in 2 easy steps. It's car buying made easy. Apply for credit pre-approval at BillionAuto.com. All applications accepted, not all approved.
Completing our interview with Wes Gilton to the bottom of the hour, let's get a legislative update and priorities. What are you looking at there, Wes?
Yeah, we're spending a lot of time, area superintendents, talking about, and with school boards and with folks, and saying, hey, what is it that's really important to us? It's been a lot of great conversations with our local legislators. It's been really fruitful, very, very, rich dialogue about what we need to do. We continue to focus on school funding. As you know, it's a priority of our governor, but also the legislature to really focus on taxes and how do we reduce taxes, but how do we still continue to fund, really important things like public schools. So we continue to talk to them about funding of public schools, and they have been wonderful listeners, and I get it. I always I give all our local legislators a lot of credit because they don't often get to hear thank you for your service, because not only are folks like school district superintendents asking them about things, but you name it across the board, and they have to balance all of that stuff, if you will. So any publicly elected official, I give you thanks. Yeah.
Last year, of course, AEA was such a big issue. Yeah. Where's that standing at right now?
Yeah, it's still a cloudy area. That was a pretty big change. So it takes a lot to let that dust settle and find out where the gaps still are. Large school districts like ours, it really doesn't impact us as much. I have concerns or hope that we work through the things for our smaller school districts, more rural, even though we're considered a rural school district. The small rural school districts still have to work through, how do they get the resources and supports they need to serve students.
I would imagine there's lobbyists out there for the schools.
Oh yeah, there's plenty. So each organization, whether it's the School Administrators of Iowa, Rural School Advocates, Iowa State Teachers Association, they all have lobbyists. And the great thing about those folks is they get together too, and everybody's trying to pull on the rope in the same direction so that the same message is being sent across the board.
You can't always meet face-to-face with these people, but how do you keep in touch and in contact with what is going on?
One of the great things about the state of Iowa, and I truly mean this, is I don't know if all other states have this, is the access to our elected officials. I get to see Tom Detterman all the time, and he is so open to having conversations with me. He asks great questions. Now Lieutenant Governor Knoyer, she was always very gracious in giving me the opportunity to speak with her. We've gone to lunch together just to talk about school priorities, and I've always appreciated that. But in times where a message needs to be sent, an email is always helpful, and they've always been very responsive to those.
How often do you get to Des Moines?
Well, the legislative session comes up, so of course our local needs will be addressed. I know Grow Clinton spends time out there, and they've asked us as a school district and other areas school districts to support them in there. So there's that opportunity to go out to Des Moines. Our area superintendents get together in common theme, providing our legislators our priorities, and we get to go out there then. So usually 2 times a year we'll go out to Des Moines, and legislators are really good about giving us time when they're out there. I mean, the Capitol, if you've ever been out there during session, it's a beehive of energy. It really is.
You mentioned Grow Clinton. I'm glad you brought that up. How much of a role does the Clinton schools have with like a Chamber of Commerce or something along those lines?
We are a member. I think it's important that we support them. I've always felt supported, by them as well. We had a meeting the other day to talk about priorities for this session of legislature. And, when you look at area school districts, every year we produce approximately 400 or 500 future employees. So to me, we are a critically important component to local economic development. Now, it's our responsibilities to produce those employees who are great contributors to that. So that's really where, when we talk about, now this is a great transition, Gary.
Okay.
Into work-based learning and to that portrait of a graduate, and how do we support, our local economic development by producing future-ready members.
How much of a role does Eastern Iowa Community College play into this then?
Well, huge. That's the thing is, you think about all these organizations, whether it's the public schools, the private schools, your Chamber of Commerce, your legislators, and the community college system, and getting them all in line to really put their resources and energy towards that economic development and developing our future. And that generally comes through our students, right? So it's quite an undertaking. And sometimes when you're sitting in the room and looking at all the people and what, influence they have, it's like, okay, how do we navigate this? It's interesting.
It was unfortunate that we lost our four-year college here in the city of Clinton, but it is so important to have that two-year school, Clinton
Absolutely.
Community College. And Dr. Brian Kelly, I think, is doing a great job.
Yeah, it's, I give so much credit to, having that two-year institution. I blame, and this is a backhanded compliment, I blame Clinton High School and CCC for allowing my daughter, my oldest daughter, and my youngest is doing it too, but Prusha, my oldest daughter, she graduated college in 3.5 years. Because she probably could have done it in 3. But I blame them for giving her those opportunities to take college classes, get that college credit while she's in high school, and it was such a help.
When did that really start coming about, where you were able to get college credits still in high school?
Wow, it's at least 25, 30 years.
Okay.
I think when I was in high school, we didn't have that opportunity. If we did, so this is the 80s, right?
Yes.
I don't remember. There may have been a few kids that had those opportunities, but I just don't really remember it. When I came back to Clinton to teach, I had a young lady on my cross-country team, very well known, but she, a local girl, but she left Clinton High with 2 years of college. So this is like 1997. So she graduated college in 2 years, 4-year degree in 2 years, because she had taken so many classes in high school. There's just, those opportunities are there.
So how does that work? I mean, you have to fulfill your high school requirements and credits.
Yeah.
And then is it just you're heaping an extra workload upon yourselves?
It can, but it also can be, this is the great thing, that when you can make this happen, because I did. When I taught at Clinton High, I did what's called concurrent enrollment. So if you are a high school teacher who has a master's degree and enough graduate credits to teach a class, you can get your student high school credit for that and also college credit for it. So I taught college physics. I had the credentials to teach college physics and astronomy. So I mean, I'd have 30 kids in a class in physics and 25 in astronomy, and all those kids would get college credit. So, and they'd get their high school credit for it too, because I had a public school teaching certification, and I had the credentials to teach in college. So
that is great.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great opportunity.
And it seems like there are more and more who are taking advantage of this.
I sure hope they would. I mean, it's a great opportunity for students to get their foot in the door of the college experience, but also have a high school teacher who kind of knows them, has built that relationship, and there's far often more of those supports that they'll have. So it's a great way for them to transition from high school to college while having both kind of characteristics.
Something that just occurred to me, so like a lot of times you hear the high school student, they're not exactly sure where they want to attend college, but doing something like this, does this kind of give them a little bit of a step up on where they might want to go?
That's a great question. I don't know. There's so many kids I'd have in class who'd like, I want to go into physics, but I really want to go to Harvard. And I'm like, well, you can, but is the physics at Harvard any different than the physics at Iowa? And they'd always have those reflective questions. Physics is physics. It doesn't change which college you go to. So I think that's a challenge at all, because I know I went through that. My youngest is trying to decide where she's going to go to school right now, and we talk all the time about it. And I didn't decide where I was going to college until probably May of my senior year. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go here. And then finally you say, I need to decide. And I waited a really long time.
Do either one of your children, are they kind of like following in your footsteps? I've got a son-in-law who's an architect, and his son, a senior, just recently been accepted to Iowa State University in their architecture program. Anybody, did they fall quite a ways from the tree?
Neither of my kids have decided they wanted to be a teacher or go into physics. My oldest daughter is she's a digital media production producer. So she works for a company. She graduated from UNI, and so if you ever watch a UNI basketball game, the main announcer's name is Eric Braley. He owns a small production company in Cedar Falls, and she works for him.
Okay.
And another guy, if you ever watch a UNI football game, Brad Wells is the lead announcer there. He works for the company too. So they produce a lot of that digital stuff for ESPN. She doesn't work for the sports side of it. She works for like the creative, so making commercials and videos for John Deere or blah, 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 blah. So
Interesting.
She didn't go into physics. Let's
No.
just say that.
Yeah.
And my youngest is an artist too. Where my kids got they're truly, they're very gifted artists. So, yeah, it didn't come from me.
Closing up shop here with you, and thank you so much for taking time. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah,
we'll catch you in the new year.
Yeah, likewise. I always appreciate it, and thanks for all that you do. And have a Merry Christmas yourself.
Last week, or the last program, of course, we were talking about the Hall of Honor.
Yeah.
And such a great thing to have. I mean, the Athletic Hall of Fame is outstanding, but that Hall of Honor really covers so many different bases.
Oh, the Hall of Honor. That's Gary. He was the brainchild behind that, and another great opportunity to highlight the amazing kids that go through the hallways of Clinton High School, be it athletic, be it in the arts, be it in the sciences, you name it. And again, it's another class of really strikingly successful people. And I think what is so important about that, and what we really try to highlight, is for the students in our community, that they see that there is a future and they can do this too. And if they just see themselves in those people, they have an opportunity.
I believe the only person in both halls is Duke Slater.
Yeah.
And I understand he is now wearing a scarf and a stocking cap.
Yeah. Paul Todderwick is like, yes, did you see somebody defaced? Or he didn't say that.
Yeah.
He says, it's like, what happened? He's like, oh, so we put a stocking cap on Duke so he'd be warm. I'm like, oh, okay, that's all right. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
But that was such a great addition to that area.
Yeah. We had some folks up from Davenport looking at some things, and TJ Stecklaus, the superintendent down there, he walked by the statue, and he looked at me. He's like, I didn't even know Duke Slater went to Clinton High. And I'm like, now you know.
Yeah. And at night they got the lights shining on. It's great.
I'm afraid an airplane's going to land over there because it's so bright.
Hey, thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.